Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Okay, looks like we're getting all set up. Good evening, everybody. I'm Stephanie Izzo, Manager of Education Partnerships here at the Met Opera. Thank you for joining us for this wonderful session we have for you this evening with the Met Opera Children's Chorus, all about the Met Opera Children's Chorus today. Quick reminders before we get started. If you're on Zoom, you should be on mute. Please stay on mute for the duration of this session. We will have a chance for you to ask questions. If you'd like to use the chat function, please use the chat function to ask your questions. We are going to have about 40 to 45 minutes here with some of our friends from the Met Opera Children's Chorus. We'll have some short performances, a chance for you to learn a little bit about them and ask your questions. Without further ado, I'm not going to do a lot of talking today. I'd like to turn it over to Anthony Piccolo, who is the director of the Children's Chorus, who's going to introduce us to our young performers today.
Hello, in this year's Magic Flute, there are 2 casts of boys, and here are 5 of those 6. Let's start with Amory. Say hi, Amory.
Hey.
And Devin.
Hi.
And Julian.
Hello.
These boys make up one of the 2 casts. And then here are 2 members of the other cast. We have Ori and Nico.
Hi.
And so we're going to sing a little bit from the Magic Flute. Shall we go right into singing?
Yes.
Let's do. All right. So if you have seats, all right, and these 3 boys will do the singing today. All right. It's the first piece.
You'll find your journey's end this way, but hurry now to win the day. To these 3 virtues now hold fast, be patient, truthful, and courageous. These virtues you must possess. Who bravely dares at last will win success. Who bravely dares at last will win success.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. I wanted to start our questions by asking you all how long you've been in the chorus. And then a question for you, Tony, is what is the audition process like to find such wonderful voices for our chorus?
Okay.
I've been in the chorus for 5 years, approximately.
I've been in the chorus for 6 to 7 years.
I've been in the chorus for nearly 2 years.
Great.
So the audition process for finding Magic Flute boys who come entirely from the children's chorus is that a lot of people start to learn the music, and eventually we narrow the field down. We narrow the field down to just a small number who go to the audition panel, who listens to them in a beautiful room here in the Met, and then they make the decision. The panel makes the decision, and then we start rehearsing with in this case, 2 casts.
We have a question from some students in Honolulu, from some first graders in Honolulu. They say, what grade are you all in? How old were you when you started singing?
I'm in 7th grade, and I started singing probably when I joined the chorus, so 7 years old.
I am Devin. I'm in grade 8. I started singing when I was 7 years old, which is also when I joined the chorus.
I'm Julian. I'm a freshman. I started singing, regularly started singing probably when I was about 5, but I joined the chorus when I was 11 now, so.
And why do you like singing opera specifically?
There's something about classical music that just makes it beautiful and easier, I think, to sing. Styles like pop are just like something comes out, but with opera it really takes skill, and it really takes something that you have to learn and combine your skills over the years.
I feel like opera really has a calling to me because it's a continuation of music, whereas pop would be, or like other styles would be more, they would be like very different, and I love like the way that opera is done.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I love opera because honestly the harmonies are really great. I feel like, me personally, I like music because of the harmonies and like just the way the sound blends and clashes together.
Does Ori have something to say?
Nico and Ori, please join us.
Ori?
What should I answer?
What is it about opera that you like to sing? Why you like
Well,
to sing
I've
it?
been around the Met community for a while. My sister was in the chorus before I was, and it's just always been so great to hear when I've gone to her performances or any opera performance, and I was like, whoa, I want to do that.
So when I was like younger, I would always watch like recordings of like operas and pretend to sing along, thinking like, oh, maybe that will be like me one day.
So when you mean when you were younger, you mean really, really
Yeah.
young?
Yeah.
Because you're in
Like-
what grade now?
I'm in 4th right now.
Okay, and you started watching opera when?
Watching opera was probably 3.
Wow. Do you have a favorite opera that you like to watch?
That I like to watch. Well, I've never watched it before, but probably, I think maybe Moby Dick. I
Oh
wanna
yeah,
watch
it's gonna be fun, right? Do you each have a favorite opera you like to perform in that you find the most fun or the most exciting?
I do actually.
Go ahead.
I performed in Zauberflöte 2 years ago. It was quite interesting, the take they, because it was
The
Ger-
new production.
yeah, it was
Mhm.
the German version of this production,
Full length.
full length. Yeah,
Yes, which we're doing again in the
we're
spring.
doing.
Yes.
Yeah. It was quite nice. They took a modern style.
Yeah.
They had a Foley artist and like
Yeah.
yeah.
We are also going to be hosting that, both the English Magic Flute and the German Zauberflöte for our schools here in the city. So that's going to be exciting. Is there a particular opera that you found very difficult to learn, either because of the language or the style?
So when it was actually my first opera, Der Rosenkavalier.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah. So the children run on stage, and we have to grab someone's arm and like flail around while still maintaining pitch and noise, and just make sure that we're doing well even while we're grabbing on and like being like horseplaying.
Yeah. So a lot of staging, a lot of
Yeah.
acting, not only the singing.
Yeah.
Do you like to do all three, or would you rather have a performance where you have a little more what we call park and bark or standing and singing, or do you like when you get to be really active on stage? It's a big stage to run around,
Yeah.
right?
It's quite fun. Just like in Tosca, you get to have like cause a lot of mayhem.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
more fun to be able to act and sing.
Mhm.
It gives you like a character to be with your costume and just your imagination, and think, oh, how can I be this person or that person? Or
Ori, that is an excellent transition, because I have a question about your costumes. So for the three boys in Magic Flute, you have a very sort of weird costume, right? You have a lot of body paint, and you wear what? Those beards.
Yep.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about getting into that costume and wig and what that's like, that process?
Well, it's quite fun. It's a 1 hour process. So they start by you putting on the like sort of underwear that you wear, and then they put a harness so that when you're flying across the stage, you're safe. And then they put another one underwear on top so that the harness is covered.
So you don't see the
Yeah.
wires.
And then you're
Mhm.
painted in full body paint. Then they attach a head, like a head
Bald
thing
cap?
with like
Head cap?
a bald cap, and then
Fright wig.
a wig. Yeah, but it's like it has like spikes all around it, and they have a beard, which is quite.
It's a lot. That's quite a process.
Yeah.
That's unusual, right? Most of the time you just look like yourselves
Yeah.
and you just have a fun costume.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever had a costume mishap on stage? Oh yeah?
So in Rosencav, I was running and I had my shoe sole come undone, so the shoe sole was on stage, and
You
I
left
was
it behind.
running across. But that's kind of the nature of the Met. You know, if something goes wrong, you fix it and you keep going and you get around it.
I bet you and maybe 3 other people on stage noticed, but nobody in the audience probably even realized
No,
anything
okay.
was happening.
It's
right?
it's way too chaotic on stage for anybody to notice.
Yeah. So right now you are all in a lot of different shows, right? You're doing these solo trio for Magic Flute, but you're also in the chorus for what other shows? Tosca.
Yeah.
What else?
Frau,
Frau
Bohem.
Neuschatten
Bohem.
and Bohem, all at the same time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So Magic Flute is rehearsing, and the other 3,
Yes.
as of tomorrow, will be in performance, right? Or the final dress.
Yeah.
So how do you manage to balance your schoolwork, which I'm sure you have, with this crazy schedule? How do you find time for everything?
Well, so for school, I mean, my parents and me have talked a lot about it. So I've talked to my teachers about like doing a lot of my homework at school.
Mm-hmm.
So because I don't have a lot of time, because we're very busy, and at home I still don't really have time.
You
So-
have to sleep at some
Yeah.
point, right?
So I just try to do all the homework I can at home, but I do most of it at school now.
Okay. I'm sure have your teachers come to see you perform?
Huh?
Have
no,
any of your teachers come here to see you perform?
No, but
Oh, yeah.
they're probably gonna come for Magic Flute.
Great. Awesome.
So for operas, there is tutoring, and it's 3 hours of tutoring for every day you miss,
Mhm.
and that really just helps to balance the schedule, because you can get a lot of work done in that 3 hours when you have a tutor basically watching over you, making sure that whatever you do, you're doing homework. And it actually it's revealing, because when you're at home you have all these distractions, but here you're doing your work and you actually get it done a lot quicker than you would get it done at school or at home.
Great. I'm going to let you 5 take a quick seat because I have some questions for Tony.
Oh my gosh.
Give him a little break.
Yeah.
So, I'm just curious on your part, when you audition young singers, when you bring them in, what is it that you're specifically looking for? And, if there's something that sparks your interest right away in a young singer, or are you looking for raw talent? Are you looking for someone who you can shape more? What are you thinking when those children are coming in for the audition?
Yeah, we're definitely looking for raw talent rather than previously learned. And we're listening for a strong voice that sings in tune. And a natural ear for singing in tune is very, very helpful. And also, we're looking for an outgoing personality. Some of the children who come in are really like scared rabbits, and it's very sad. It's hard to get them to speak up, but others just blossom when they're asked questions in the interview part. They take over, and it's really great. And then the singing follows right after that. We sing Happy Birthday in different keys, so that that octave leap in the middle of Happy Birthday shows a lot about how one manages the voice without any particular training. So yeah, it is definitely a look for raw talent.
And what is the youngest age that you'll take and the oldest age you'll take, right? Because you want people who are going to come in and be in the chorus for a number of years, like our friends here.
Yes. So we open auditions to 7-year-olds
7.
until 10-year-olds, including 10, and so that's a challenge also. But they do come, and we want them to stay for a while. So that's why we stopped taking at 10, because it takes a while to train up to being ready for the stage, and then we want them to stay for a while.
Can you talk a little bit about that training process? Because you don't just take them in and throw them right on the Met Opera stage right away.
No. No. So we have a beginner's class, a small class of maybe 6 or 8, children, and they learn basic skills for usually 6 months to a year.
And when you say basic skills, what do you mean exactly?
How
Are they learning to read music?
No, but we're learning how to breathe and how to use the muscles of the body to do correct singing that doesn't have a lot of tension in it. We would like the singing to be free of tension. And so when they've learned enough of those basic skills, then they graduate to the advanced class, which is much larger, fortunately. And the children in the advanced class learn the repertoire of the operas that are coming. So then they might be learning several operas at the same time, and then each opera auditions separately. Let's do auditions for La Bohème this week. And then a couple of weeks later, we'll do the auditions for a different opera. And I cast the choruses with people who do the best auditions. They've learned the music in the class, and they sing it 4 people at a time, standing around the piano. And so I listen to each one, but not totally exposed as a soloist. And so that's how we find the cast for the different operas.
And then when you have something like a solo, like these
Yes.
trios, or like in Tosca, right, there's a shepherd,
Yes.
and a number of other operas, there are single soloists. So how, when you working with these children very closely,
Yes.
do you select certain students to
Yeah.
audition? Do you nudge them a little, or is it all anyone can audition? How does that work?
So some operas, I ask anybody who would like to come to classes for that role to come to class and learn, but we narrow the class down as we go along. In certain operas, well, we have one opera here called Péléas et Mélisande by Debussy, and it has a very challenging child role in it. And the last time we did it, we spent a year working on the language and then on the music.
Wow.
And it's a big commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's, I mean, French, German, English,
Right.
Italian,
Russian.
sometimes Czech.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's quite, so they're learning not only the music, but also most of the time the language by rote as well.
Right.
Do you have a diction coach that comes in and works with them?
So usually we do that on our own. At the last minute, we often have a meeting with a language coach, but everything should be learned by then.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then they have to have everything memorized
Yes.
and on stage and be ready to run around
Yes.
with their costumes and their shoes maybe falling
Right.
off.
And of course we have rehearsals for the staging particularly. So today, for instance, we rehearsed scenes from the Magic Flute, and the stage director was there running the show and reminding them when to arrive at a certain point on stage, and when to hand over the flute and the bells.
Yes, very
right?
important parts of the story.
Yes.
Right. Now you have other members of your team that help the students help the kids get around, get to their rehearsals, make sure the parents drop them off, right? How does
Yes.
that work?
So they are the chaperones.
Yes.
We have about 10 chaperones.
10, okay.
Yes, and they, Alicia Edwards, the children's administrator, assigns the chaperones to different events during the day, a rehearsal, a class, yes, a costume fitting, and so those are very important people to make sure that everybody arrives in the right room at the right time. Yes.
And in this building, it can be complicated because it's a
big
maze
building.
and there's many different levels.
Yes.
So it's good to have a shepherd to get you there.
Oh, it's essential.
Yeah,
Absolutely
definitely.
essential.
Excellent. So we just heard a little bit of the first excerpt from Magic Flute. Can you talk us through a little bit what was happening in that scene and then set us up for the next musical excerpt?
What the boys just sang happens while they are flying in a machine 25 feet above the stage floor, and that's very exciting. There's usually a trial run of flying the machine, not in costume, and that's a big moment.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it's a big moment. But they grow to love taking the flights. Yeah.
We'll ask
And-
you about that later.
Right, the boys are singing to Tamino in that piece and telling him how to succeed in his quest. In the second piece, they return to talk to Tamino and Papageno, and they bring them a feast, a real banquet, which is a lot of fun in this production, and remind them to stay on their path.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So can we bring back Amory, Devin, and Julian to sing our next excerpt?
We bid you welcome a second time. It's here that great Zoroaster dwells. These gifts we bring you by his design, your magic flute and magic bells. A tasty feast we will provide you, so eat and drink and have no fear. When next we three shall stand beside you, you both will find rewards are near. She whom you love, she is close by. You Papageno, do be still, 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 do be still, 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 do be still.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I want to ask you three, and actually, Ori and Nico, if you want to come on in, I want to ask you about that trip across the stage, because in this production of Magic Flute, you have to fly almost 100 feet in the air, right? It's about 110 feet into the fly space, but maybe half of that. Maybe I'm exaggerating. So you have to fly very high up on the stage, and you're on this sort of, what is it? Sort of a fake.
It's supposed to be a massive goose, or
A
what we call the
goose,
goose. It's
yeah.
a bird.
Yeah, okay. And you're moving slowly across the stage as you sing this music.
Yes.
So do you do anything special to prepare for that moment? And what was the first time you tried that like? Was it scary? Were you excited?
So in rehearsals, we practice singing that piece sitting down, because we are sitting on the machine. And once the first few tech rehearsals, which are on the contraption, our first one is actually on Wednesday. They put us on the machine with our harnesses on, and we practice it. When I first did it, it was nerve-wracking. 25 feet sounds a lot smaller in your head than it is in real life. But I think once you do it the first time and you get up there, you get over your nerves and you just like focus on following the conductor and focus on singing.
How about anyone else? Have
feel
a
like-
different reaction?
it was actually quite fun because I was prepared for it, and it was quite fun because at that time I was first boy, so I was in the front of that whole thing. So you go up, and then the guy gives you the thumbs up, and you start moving. You see everyone in the house, and yeah, it's amazing.
So you're an old pro at that part, right? You've done it how many times now? A bunch.
3. Yeah.
You go on like roller coasters or something, you think it's, okay. Well, I might be a little too scared. I think you all will probably be more brave than any of the adults in this room at doing that. I'm not sure if we have any more questions from the chat, but I have a sort of fun question that I like to ask, which is, when you're not singing or learning opera, do you have a favorite artist or a favorite genre, or what do you listen to when you're not in this building, right? When you're just having your own free time, when you have so much free time.
I listen to like operas, like by the Met, and I watch recordings of it.
Okay, you can't get enough.
Yeah,
'Cause it's amazing.
and I just practice.
Wow. Well, don't make everyone else look bad. Just kidding.
So right now I'm working through, it's the oldest Met recording that's on their HD service. It's from 1935. It's a 1935 recording of La Traviata. It's really, really great. That's something that I'm working through. And if I'm on the train or somewhere else, I listen to Die Zauberflöte, which is the German Magic Flute.
Great.
Less classically. I like to listen to jazz.
Jazz,
Yeah.
yeah. Any particular artist you like, or vocal
Cannonball Adderley. Ever heard of him? Yeah.
No.
From like the 60s, I think.
You'll have to send me the name. I'll start listening to it.
I like to listen to like more bossa nova type jazz.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. You guys have great taste. We do have some questions coming in from our chat, from our attendees. First question is, do you think you might consider joining the regular chorus or pursuing a career in singing once you're done with the children's chorus?
Personally? You can go.
I mean, I would think of that as an option.
Great.
I think it just really depends, because after your voice changes, especially as boys, it's different to get into the adult chorus. It's a completely new voice. So if my voice holds, then probably yes, but we'll see.
Would you consider like continuing to train your voice and
Yeah, absolutely.
just taking voice lessons or continuing to sing with? Yeah, wonderful. How do you feel when the show is finally over?
It feels great.
Great.
Because especially in this one, we get a bow.
Oh yeah.
So it's quite fun. Everyone's clapping, and all of the cast members are on stage.
Mm-hmm.
In the adult chorus, all of the other soloists.
And you have to move your beards out of the way
Yeah.
to take your bow.
Yeah, it's quite fun. Everyone's there, and then you all bow. Yeah.
That's awesome. Have any of you ever done a solo or just the three boys?
I learned the Tosca Shepherd part.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get in, but yeah.
So
It's different, especially the shepherd part. It's just like a unique style of singing.
Yeah.
And
Do you prefer singing in English, German, Italian, or French?
I love German.
You love German?
I find German the easiest to sing purely because of its vowels are more like smiley, so you can get more sound out for less work.
Great. Anyone else have a preference?
I agree, but that's not my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my favorite is kind of Italian. It just has a really nice sound.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the vowels are great,
Yeah.
and it travels.
It is the original language of opera, right? But there's so much. You all have such wonderful diction. I can hear every single word you're saying in this room. So bravi. Tony, do you know if any of the children's chorus members have gone on to be in the full-time chorus or be a soloist recently?
Not recently,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Okay. I know we have someone in our marketing department who used to be in the children's chorus, and now he works here full time. So there's plenty of different paths here, even if you don't stay on stage. If you had any advice to any of the schools or any of the students coming to see the show, what would you tell them to prepare them if they've never seen any opera before and this is their very first time?
It's grand, very grand here.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of the biggest opera houses in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've never seen an opera, it might not be as shocking. But if you've seen an opera in a smaller house or maybe a Broadway play, it's very different.
Yeah.
So a regular Broadway house is about 300 to 600 seats. The Met is almost 4,000 seats.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a completely different experience, completely different voice than Broadway. But it's great because the flute is a great introduction to opera because it's simple, it's short, and it's not boring. I will say some other operas are incredibly boring and hard to sit through. But I think flute is extravagant and really easy to watch and understand.
I would suggest trying to focus your eyes and your ears on what's going on and not be too distracted by everything else in the house,
Yeah.
because there's a lot to look at, the chandeliers
Mm-hmm.
and the tiers the seating arrangements.
It's a lot of people in one place.
It's a lot.
I would say it's when you come in, you just have to like be prepared, and you see there's like captions, and especially Magic Flute, it has so many like things that can catch your eye. It's like there's flamingos, there's papageno, there's and there's
the dragon.
Yeah, the dragon, like in the opening scene itself.
Great. Any words of advice?
Well, probably if you come to see Magic Flute, be ready to see some like really cool and funny costumes.
Yeah, a lot of colorful stuff.
And try to not laugh.
Why? You should laugh. It's
You
funny,
should
right?
laugh,
Anything else you want to add?
Honestly, they said it all, but like, it's just really a mind-blowing experience if it's like your first opera, like, or your first show at all.
There's so much.
Yeah, there's so much to look at and just understand. Like, you have to take it all in.
For sure. We have another question coming in from the first graders in Hawaii. They're tuning in from Hawaii. They would like to know, who is your favorite character in Magic Flute? We can go down the line. You have a favorite character?
I love all of them. I don't really have a favorite character because I haven't been in the Met for a long time. So
You just taking it all in.
yeah,
Yeah,
I just love it.
That's okay.
Yeah, I've never been in Flute, but I've been in other productions. But for Flute, I'd say Papageno. It's just, I've seen Flute a couple of times, and he's just funny to watch, especially when it's acted well and sung well. It's great.
Yeah.
It's the same for me, Papageno,
Yeah.
because I just
I'd
love
say for
comedy.
me, it's the Queen of the Night.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Her amazing aria.
I would say Papageno, but I would actually say my least favorite character is us. Because our story is a little bit confusing. At the beginning, we're working for the Queen, and then we switch to Zoroastro, and I'm like, pick a side.
Well, it's a little bit of a twist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So does that affect how you play your role? If you know something the audience doesn't know, or you're just sort of these very wise, you know,
Yeah.
the wise spirits.
Yeah. I would say that the first piece is a little less stern, and then the second piece, especially when we're yelling at Papageno, I think it's more like, be this way, and that's when we're like Zoroastro's puppets essentially, and that's Zoroastro's tone, you know, strong, low voice, trying to convey a message.
Yeah. So you're sort of taking your cue from who we now know is your boss, right?
Yeah.
Great. And so when you physically get on stage to perform the three boys, your physical, you know, the way you stand, your movements have to be very different than when you're just playing a kid, right?
Yeah.
Is that something that you have to like mentally prepare yourself for? Is it just when you put the costume on you feel it right away?
I feel like when I put on the costume, it's like
You transform.
empowered.
You're a whole nother person.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever had a costume you really hated wearing, or you found very uncomfortable?
I sang in Carmen last year, and I had a bright red shirt that I did not like.
Okay.
That was
Just
and it was
'cause
a little
you-
small too.
Yeah.
Not fun.
But you got to climb on the chain link fence, right?
That's the old production.
Oh, the
not
old production. Okay.
I got to carry the baseball bat, which
The
was
fatal bat.
Oh.
Fatal bat.
Uh-oh.
the accomplice.
Oh my. You had a costume you didn't like?
I mean, it's just that for La Boheme, I was one of the students, and the costume is very bundled up,
Okay.
and it gets really
You're
hot
hot.
on stage.
Because there are how many people on stage in that scene?
70.
It's like 300 with all the
52,
all the
Yeah.
actors and then the marching band that goes down
Oh,
the
yeah.
middle of the stage.
I would actually say the flute costume, at least from the ones that I've tried, is probably the most uncomfortable. It's the hair that we wear is actually yak hair, so it's a little bit itchy. But once you're on stage, you forget about it and you start singing.
Do you ever get to wear a different wig with human hair?
Nope.
No. So fun fact for the listeners at home: when we have wigs here at the Met, they're all made of human hair except when they're white wigs, and those come from a Tibetan yak. And so then they sew them in. So you're wearing I did not know that the yak hair was itchy, but fun fact for everybody. Excellent. I don't know if there's any other questions coming in from our chat, but I just want to say thank you all so much for spending your Monday night with us. Thank you, Tony, for preparing them so well. I'm looking forward to seeing you all. I'm going to be at the dress rehearsal on December 10th with 2,000 of our school attendees as well. So it's going to be a very big day, and I wish you in Boca Lupo for all of your performances this coming season. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Stephanie.
So thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope that this gave you a little bit of a taste of what it's like to be in the chorus. We will be recording this, and we'll try to post it on YouTube for you all so that you can rewatch it or share it with your students, your other teachers, other colleagues that might be interested in watching. I will see some of you here at the Met in a few weeks for our December 10th dress rehearsal. There is the HD screening of Magic Flute, which is going to be on December 7th, which is a rebroadcast from a few years back of the same production of this Julie Taymor Magic Flute Holiday Edition. I will also be sending you a follow-up email with a little discount code should you want to come and see another performance in the evening. And you can also see the three boys again in the Magic Flute in the full German version, which we talked a little bit about, which is going to be on our in our spring half of our season. So if you can't get enough of the English version, you can check it out again in its full German glory. And like they mentioned, they're also in Tosca and La Boheme right now. Frau ohne Schatten opens next week. And is there something else in the spring that they're performing in?
Queen of Spades.
Queen of Spades. Ooh, yes, Russian. So they are working on Russian this year as well.
Yes.
As you can see, some really talented, wonderful young musicians here at the Met Opera. Thank you for spending your evening with us. I wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving, and we will talk soon. Ciao.